Good evening and welcome to the Trading the Tech Show. My name is Derek and this is iLi Academy. Today is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. Looking back at the Dow Jones today, the Dow Jones closed down 68 points to 33,677.27. And it was a down day for most of the day, pretty much right off the bat on the open. We dropped off quite a bit and then proceeded to kind of plummet through about 9:15 or so, maybe 9:30 or maybe 9:45. I'm sorry, 9:15. It wasn't even open at 9:15. About 9:40 or so, we plummeted and then we kind of bounced a little bit throughout the morning, early or just prior to lunchtime, maybe around 11:30 or so, we started to drop off again, and then we slid down, but not quite to the lows by about 1 o'clock. After that, we started to build some momentum. So after the 1 o'clock hour, we started building momentum, got to our highest point in the day here at about 3:11 or so, 3 o'clock, and then from there we got sort of trailed off a little bit. So there was some resiliency a little bit in the market, even though we did close down today. We still did get some resiliency here throughout the afternoon where individuals thought that stocks were cheap enough to buy. And so we got some movement to the upside there, kind of saving the day a little bit so that it wasn't such a rout to the downside here. But we've got two consecutive down days in a row. That's kind of how the week is shaping up so far. So we'll see where we go tomorrow. The S&P 500 actually was up 13.6 points to 4141.59. The Nasdaq was up 146.10 points to 13,996.10. The Russell 2000 was down 4.86 points to 2228.92. So let's go ahead and take a look at our charts for tonight. We'll go ahead and do some analysis. I noticed this morning before our daily market overview show that we did have a lot of opportunities set up yesterday. So we had some opportunities to be profitable yesterday, which were quite good. And so we might have some more of those here tonight. Now here we're looking at the Aussie CAD. We see that the Aussie CAD rate is trading below our 720 EMA here. All of the moving averages are below as well. They're not in order to the downside, and they're all kind of consolidated into this small little area here. But it presents an opportunity to us right now because we are well enough, high enough above the 200 moving average, which is sitting at 95.79 to short. So we can short on this 200 moving average here, or on the 50 or on the 100 conservatively here, but they're pretty much all in the same area. So you might as well use the 200 at this point. So if we do short, there is a little bit of higher highs, higher lows kind of going on in the market here. If we look at kind of the direction of the angle of the lows that we're getting, we see that they are climbing. So if we do short there, we want to recognize that this support is kind of growing on an upward trajectory. But overall, the overall direction is still to the downside because the long-term direction is still to the downside based on our moving averages. And they're not really in position to cross over the 720 right now. So we'll have to keep watching this, but the opportunity to short based on our signature effect strategy is to short on our 200, 100, or our 50 here. As far as the Aussie yen goes, we see that we're trading well below our 720 here. A lot of real estate between the 720 and the 200. There's distance between all of the moving averages. They're all in order, so we have full mature trend to the downside here. Now, we recognize here, one thing I do see is that we did create a low here. So if this bounces around, this is kind of breakout bounce. So if this bounces around here, it comes down and it doesn't re-break this low, we may trade off to the upside here. So it's probably going to give us an opportunity to get a nice, opportunity to trade on our 50 or our 100 when we pull back. So we haven't broken that previous low just yet. So, we'll be mindful of that. If you're playing that to the upside, you could probably play a breakout bounce trade there as well. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and insert our rectangle here. We like to kind of have it in, kind of the archway that's created, maybe, something like this here. And the bottom of this rectangle would be our entry point. The top would be our last entry point to get in on that. Now, since we are below the 720, I'm not really eager to take this breakout bounce trade, but if you're just trading strictly breakout bounce, then this might be the one for you. You might want to take this trade maybe here at this low, sitting around 83.22 or so. Take the buy to the upside. Make sure that you break it even pretty quickly and just let it run. Break it even, let it run. If it continues to the upside, then fine. The only thing I see here is that we are our trade direction is to the downside, so I wouldn't expect a lot of pips out of that. I would just take what comes with it, right? As far as the Aussie New Zealand goes, we see that our 720 is here. We're trading rate right now is, the ask price, there's a little bit of a spread going on here, but the ask price is flirting with the 720 right now. The ask price is represented by this red line here. The bid price is not too far behind there, a couple of pips behind. Where it looks like we're trying to eclipse the 720 right now. The bid is well above the 200. I would short on this 200. That's my short because my long-term moving average, all of the moving average actually are below the 720 right now. We have a full mature trend to the downside. We're getting this push to the upside, which is providing us opportunity to short on this 200, the 100, or the 50. But for me, I'd probably short on this 200 here because we're not too close to crossing over the 720 just yet. We have enough distance. As far as the Aussie US goes, we see that we traded rate now above our 720. The 8 has jumped over the 720. The 21 is sitting right on top of the 720 as well at this 76.38 area. But our long-term moving averages, 50, 100, and 200 are below the 720. And so we're going to be able to short on one of those moving averages. At this point, I'd probably take the 50 because it's a decent amount of pips below my 720. But if you want to be more conservative, you can use your 100 or your 200 as your short level. Let's take a look at our CAD yen here. Our CAD yen, we see that we're trading well below our 720 here. All the moving averages are in order to the downside here. They are in a mature trend at this point in time. So we're just waiting for pullbacks past our 50 or past our 100. Yesterday, even though we dropped all the way down here, down here in the 86.50s area, we trailed all the way back. We retraced this move almost 100% back past our, just about 100%, past our 100, all the way back almost to our 200 EMA, which would have given us the opportunity to short on this 100 again. So, or on this 50, we could have shorted on the 100 or on the 50. Either one of those trades would have been profitable for us. It would have surrendered a lot of pips for us, at least 20 pips or so for us there. As far as the Swiss yen goes, we're still trading well above our 720. The 720 is kind of peeking out the bottom right here. There's a lot of real estate between my 720 and my 200. So I'm a buyer here. I'm a buyer either on my 200, my 100, or my 50. The 100 and the 50 are sitting around this 118.40 mark right now. The ask price is sitting right on top of the 200 right now. So I'm not going to place a trade there. I probably would have been able to do it when the rate was way down here in the 118.18 areas. But right now it's sitting right on top, so we would have already had to catch that order. But our penchant's to the upside, our trade direction's to the upside, so our expectation is that the momentum will bring us to the upside, and maybe we'll eclipse even our 50 or our 100. Yesterday, we got this move down well below the 200, so we had an opportunity yesterday as well to buy on this 200 and have a profitable trade. The important thing is breaking these even, and then moving your stop loss, moving your profit stop loss up behind it to make sure you get your pips. And then you can kind of just let it run. Let it run, adjust the stop. Let it run, adjust the stop. When it takes you out, it takes you out. We on to the next one. That's the way that we look at this as traders. As far as the Euro Aussie goes, we're trading above our 720. Same deal. Same real estate between the 720 and the 200. We've got our moving averages all actually in order to the upside as well. So they're in a full mature trend here, even though it's kind of young the way it's developing. But we're going to be waiting for pullbacks past our 100 or our 50 to drop orders at those levels. Now, yesterday we did get one here. We got to drop down to this 100. We could have bought on this 50, and within hours, boom, we got this shot right past through the 50, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles right in a row, green candles right in a row. No easier money than that, right? So, the more we teach this and the more people get involved with it, I think they're going to find like, hey, there's a really simple way to make money in this market. So we're, on this Euro CAD, we're trading above our 720 here. Here's our 720 coming out of the bottom here. We've got all of our moving averages in order to the upside here. And so we're just waiting on pullbacks past our 100 or past our 50. The 50 in blue, the 100 in yellow, right? So anytime we pull back past there, we're going to be buyers. Yesterday, we kind of got a push here towards the 100. We could have bought on this 50 and that would have yielded some nice pips for us through now. Still kind of headed up, still got green candles forming. As far as Euro Swiss, we're trading here below our 720. We did yesterday actually trade up here to our 200. All the moving averages were below, so we could have shorted based on this 100. We would have had a few pips to the downside here, and we could have, been profitable on that trade. It wouldn't have, maybe when we pass that 50, we want to break this even and then just kind of let it run. But we had a couple of opportunities to actually short on the 100, which would have yielded us some pips. We're not looking for the most pips in the world. We're just trying to get some out of the game. We don't want to see positive trades going back negative. If it's positive, 10 pips or so, we definitely want to break that even, add a couple of pips, 2, 3, 4 pips, 5 pips maybe, and just let it run, and then just adjust your stop as necessary. As far as the euro pound goes, we're trading well above our 720 here. All the moving averages are in a mature trend to the upside. They're all in order. We did have this opportunity yesterday when it traded down here to the 200 to actually buy on our 100 and our 50, which we're sitting right here at about this 86.59 area. And, within hours, boom, we got this shot, right through those moving averages. And within a couple of hours, we were up here in the 8,700 area. So that was a nice move too, about probably a good 40, 50 pips there within a couple of hours, and you'd have been good. As far as the euro yen goes, we're trading now above our 720 here. We see our 200, 100 are kind of in the same area here, sitting right on top of each other, right about this 130.25 area. That's our first order of entry. We can always, the 50 and the 200, but then the 100 sitting here about 1 pip higher at 130.26. So you can use any one of those as your buying location. Now we see yesterday we got this nice move down towards the 720. We could have bought on our 200. That would have yielded us a profitable trade here. We had the same exact thing the day before, moved down to the 720, and we could have bought on the 200 if we wanted to, and we would have had a profitable trade through the beginning of yesterday's trading. So we're kind of getting those opportunities. Here we had another opportunity. So, just within days, we've got at least 3 opportunities that we've seen, and then the 4th one today that's setting up now. So, it's not yielding a lot of pips when it's jumping past the 200. So I definitely would make sure I break even pretty quickly and just not let it go back negative. But we can take some pips off the table. Here we are on the Euro New Zealand trading above our 720. All the moving averages are above the 720. They're not quite in order right now. It's a little bit of a mess, but we did pull back here well below the 100, almost to the 200. So we could have bought on this 100 or on this 50. Either one of those would have yielded a profitable trade for us. And it still would have been profitable right now. Yesterday, we got the same thing. We pulled all the way down here towards the 200. We could have dropped our order on the 100. That was a profitable trade as well. So very cool trade there. As far as the Euro US goes, we see our 720 peeking out of the bottom here. We've got all of our moving averages in order to the upside here. So that's a full mature trend. Right now, the rate's staying out here outside of my 8. So it's probably going to continue to the upside until that exhausts. Once it exhausts, we'll be waiting for pullbacks past our 50 or past our 100 to give us buying opportunities. Yesterday, we got it, right? We traded down here towards the 200 a couple of times. We could have bought on this 100, on this 50. Didn't matter either one that we bought on. We had a nice trade to the upside. Huge amount of pips there for us. We don't always get them like that, but we got some really, really nice pips out of that. As far as the pound Aussie goes, we're trading here below our 720. All the moving averages are in order to the downside. Right now we're pulling back a little bit, but we want to get past our 50 and past our 100 so we can short on those levels. So far, we've got some nice opportunities here. We really have some nice opportunity. Yesterday there were a lot of opportunities, which is great. As far as pound CAD goes, we're trading below our 720, which is sitting up here up top. All our moving averages are below that 720. So right now we're pulling back. We're sitting on the 100 as far as the ask price goes. The 50 is like right there with the 100, so there's not really much difference between those two, maybe a half a pip or so, or a pip. And so we're gonna have to wait for a pushback maybe towards this 200 before we can short on either the 100 or the 50. Now we did push back here to the 720, and so we can short. We could have shorted on this 200 yesterday, and we would have had a trade that would have been profitable within a few hours for us. So within a few hours, boom, we dropped down between past the 50, past the 100 as well. And so any one of those trades that we entered on would have been profitable for us. Here for the pound Swiss, we're trading well below the 720. Lots of real estate between my 720 and my 200. All the moving averages are in order to the downside here. And so, we've got, a trend to the downside. That's what we're looking for. Now, yesterday we did see how this was kind of ranging for the last few days or so. We've kind of broken out of that a little bit, try to create some little higher highs and lower lows even at that point in time. So we're going to, just be mindful of that. We're kind of breaking out of that range. So, we're going to see a nice move to the downside here, but we want to see a pullback past our 50, past our 100 before we take a short order. Now, yesterday we got that. We traded back here to the 200. When we traded back to the 200, we had the opportunity to short on both our 100 and our 50 moving averages, and that would have yielded a pretty quick, nice trade for us. Okay, so yeah, pound yen, we're trading below our 720 here. All the moving averages are in order to the downside, and so we're just waiting on pullbacks past our 50 and past our 100 to short there. Now we see yesterday we got a nice move back towards the 200, right? So when we move back towards the 200, we can short on our 50 and our 100 here at the 150.44 level, and wouldn't have taken long, and boom, we had profitable trades. So this is very cool. The strategy is very good. Pretty much on a daily basis, it's pretty great. So, we call that our signature FX trade, because we teach it here on the show, but it's something that we'll be using as far as our trading goes, manually as our prop trading firms gets underway here. So we're going to be starting and funding that very shortly here. We got the funding for that, some funding back again for that. So we're good on that to get started, and then we'll just be growing that opportunity. So I'm grateful for that. As far as the pound US goes, we're shorting here because we're trading below our 720. All the moving averages are below the 720. They're starting to create trend to the upside here, not quite trend yet because our 200 still kind of sitting in the middle here, but we're trying to create trend to the upside, which means that we've got a nice opportunity to short on this 200, the 50, or the 100. You can choose whichever one of those you want to use, but either one of those should be profitable. Right now, I don't see the 200 jumping over the 720 anytime soon. So even if the rate goes up there, we're still not going to be buyers until our moving averages tell us that we should be buyers. As far as the New Zealand CAD goes, we're trading right now right above our 720. And so we have all our moving averages below the 720 right now. And so we're still sellers here. So look at our long-term moving averages. The 50, the 100, and the 200 are still sitting down here right around the 100 and the 200 are sitting around this 88.38 area. The 50 sitting up here around 88.40, so kind of right in the same area. So we're going to be, shorting on one of those levels. I pick maybe my 50 and make that my level to short on 88.40. It's pretty much the same thing as 88.38. So I might as well short there, and it's not too close to my 720. So, I'm still a short seller at that point. Yesterday, we got a nice move up, kind of the same thing towards the 720. And then we could have shorted on our 200, 100, or 50, and we still would have had a profitable trade there. Okay. As far as New Zealand Swiss goes, we're trading below our 720 here. Right now, the rate is trading a little bit above our 100 moving average. So we could drop in order to sell on this 100 moving average or on this 50 if we want to be a little more conservative. As far as New Zealand yen, we're trading below our 720 here. All of our moving averages are in order to the downside here. So we've got this nice mature trend, but it's going to be a little bit young here. What I've been noticing is that once we've kind of come down here, you can tell just by this 8, the way it's bouncing around here. It's not kind of flat like these other moving averages. That the longer you get out, the further you get out time-wise, the smoother they kind of get. But you can see here on the 8, it's really herky-jerky here. It's just jumping around here. And so, be mindful of that when you're trading this. If you're going to short, once we jump up above the 50 or the 100, you're going to short. Know that that rate's going to jump around a little bit. So you want to move your stop loss down to break even and take off some pips. As far as New Zealand US goes, rate is well above our 720 now. Our 8 and our 21 are well above the 720. So we're going to be shorting on our long-term moving averages, which are below the 720 here. I probably wouldn't use my 50 because it's so close to my 720 now, but I probably use at least maybe my 100 sitting here at about 70.37. That's my point where I would short. As far as the US dollar CAD goes, we're trading below our 720. All our moving averages are in order to the downside here. And so we're just waiting on pullbacks past our 50 or past our 100. Yesterday, we got this huge pullback past our 720. We even got the 200 to actually pull itself up above the 720 here for just a little bit of time, but then it dumped itself right back down, dumped the rate right back down into the downward trend again. So this would have been a little bit of a tough one because we would have been setting up our minds to buy. Maybe, once this 200 got over the 720, we probably want some more space for the 200 over the 720. So we don't want to, maybe deal when it's that close. And we probably wouldn't have time anyway because these red candles were coming so hard and furious. I feel like, we wouldn't have made a buy trade maybe here on this 50 because we could see it like just tanking at that point in time. So this is something we don't see this a whole lot with that type of action, just kind of the whipsaw that we saw yesterday in that. We don't really see that often. So, and then to have the 200 just barely jump over the 720, that's not an order that I would take. So it's good that this kind of occurred so you can see where you might make a judgment call and say, you know what, that's not an order I want to take. I want to see some distance between my 200 and my 720. All right. So now we're just waiting on pullbacks past the 50 and the 100 again. So it really was an order for us there on the US dollar CAD. US dollar Swiss wise, we see that we're trading below our 720 still. All the moving averages in order to the downside, so our momentum's to the downside. We're just waiting on pullbacks past the 50 or past the 100. We got the pullback past the 50 and 100 yesterday, almost to the 200, so we could have shorted on the 100 or on this blue 50. Either one of those would have been a profitable trade in minutes and just hours, and it would have given us a nice trade with some nice pips to gain. As far as the US dollar yen, we're trading below our 720. All the moving averages are in order to the downside here. And we're going to have pullbacks, eventually to our 50 or to our 100 that we can short on. Right now, we just don't see it. The momentum's to the downside. Yesterday, we did get it. We got this nice move up past our 720. However, our 200 was still kind of above. It was flirting with that 720. So we may not have shorted here on that, may not have been able to place a short maybe on this 50 or on the 100 sitting here because the 200 had not jumped below yet. So sometimes we're going to get that. This is the second time we've kind of seen that where we're just transitioning. I don't really like to take that within the transition because we don't know exactly what's going to happen, at that point in time. So we really have to kind of wait and just see what happens. So it's better just to be a little more conservative. Sometimes we have better setups that we can take. And so we don't want to risk every single setup. We don't have to take every single one. Just take the ones that make sense. Take the ones that set up pretty nicely. They're setting up with the right direction. You got real estate between my 720 and my 200. And so that's the more probable trade. The probability of it being profitable is going to be a lot higher. So those are the trades that I really want to take. So thank you for your time. I thank you for checking out the trades with me. We're able to get through all of our charts and get some nice trade opportunities here. So we've got some orders that we can place and some things we can look forward to. It's only Tuesday night, so we've got a lot of the week ahead of us here. So we're still on the upside of the week. And tomorrow's Wednesday, which is our hump day. So we're going to have to watch the markets and see what happens. So if you know anybody who can use this information and wants to learn strategies and how to trade, definitely let them know. We're here to, assist and, to grow the business. So, you know, I think we're going to do very well as far as, our prop trading and all that stuff too. So our focus will be on, growing the business this year. And so I'm really excited and happy about that. So I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to bend your ear too much here. Once again, my name is Derek. This has been the Trading the Tech Show for iLi Academy. Have a great day. Bye-bye.